to create equity and justice for people living with and vulnerable to HIV and related chronic diseases. I am asking you to vote yes on enforcing the condom distribution program to provide no-cost condoms or low-cost condoms. Our target audience is adolescents, college-age individuals. We have launched the Love the One You're With campaign to help make Chicago a safer, sexier place by promoting condom use, education, awareness, and accessibility in our communities. It helps to break down barriers that prevent persons from attaining these contraceptives, including costs, lack of sex education, geographic restrictions, and religious and social pressures. Youth ages 12 to 24 experience the most drastic reductions in new HIV infections using these condoms. In 2005, this age group had a prevalence of 10.3%. By 2012, it had a decline of 7.3%. The condom distribution programs, or CDPs, help stop the spread of HIV and other sexually transmitted infections, or STIs. Consistent and correct use of latex of polyurethane condoms is the most effective means to prevent HIV transmission and STIs. CDPs make condoms easily accessible to at-risk communities. These highly visible initiatives increase the public's awareness of the importance of condom use and encourage male and female condom use among sexually active adolescent college-aged individuals. Now, there's one particular incident I want to tell you about. It is about a young adult male. One day he came to the, we call it AFC, AIDS Foundation Chicago organization, to be tested for HIV and for STIs. It turns out that he tested positive for HIV. When I asked him if he used protection during sexual activities, he replied no. I asked him why not. He replied to me that he had no money to buy condoms. I asked him if there was a way to get condoms at no cost, would you have used them? He replied, yes. If this condom distribution program was available and known, perhaps this young man would not be having to live a life of being afraid that he's going to die of HIV. Thank you, CDC Director and Committee, for your time. And I ask you to vote yes in enforcing the condom distribution program. Thank you.
All right, next speaker.
Good evening, CDC Director and Committee. I'm Yuni Hao, a member of Planned Parenthood. I'm asking you to vote yes on enforcing the CDC condom distribution program. We are here to empower our allies around the world in providing, promoting, and defend access to care. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, women aged 15 to 19 had the highest unintended pregnancy rate of any other age group. In 2010, teen pregnancy and childbirth cost U.S. taxpayers at least $9.4 billion in increased healthcare and foster care, and lost tax revenue because of lower educational attainment and income among teen mothers. Pregnancy is the leading cause of death for adolescent girls worldwide. Approximately 70,000 girls die every year from complications related to pregnancy and childbirth. They really need our help to grow into the healthiest generation ever. Therefore, ensuring condoms are affordable and easy to access is extremely important for this population. In addition, it was estimated that 60,900 youth were living with HIV in the United States at the end of 2013. 51%, 31,300 of these were living with undiagnosed HIV, which is the highest rate of undiagnosed HIV in any age group. In 2014, 117 young girls aged from 15 to 24 died from HIV. In 2015, 8,807 young girls were diagnosed with HIV in the United States. 1,489 girls girls were diagnosed with AIDS, representing 80% of total AIDS diagnosed that year. Study shows males and female condom offer significant dual protection against HIV, STI, and unintended pregnancy. Male condoms have effective rates of approximately 87% when used consistently as a primary means of contraception. Female condoms have been shown to be up to 95% of effective rates in preventing
40
pregnancy.
seconds.
So Planned Parenthood can contribute to the coalition effort by giving free condoms as well as free STI and STD testing to decrease the rate of unintended pregnancy among this age group. So we are here to provide education about safe sex practice, so it will significantly reduce the percentage of young women who experience unwanted pregnancy, HIV, STIs, and all the negative consequences associated with these outcomes. Please vote yes on condoms distribution program. Thank you for your time.
Good work.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Yurika Sinsuk and I'm representing the San Diego Health Department, HIV and STD Prevention Unit. I am asking you to vote yes on enforcing the CDC condom distribution program. According to the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, nearly 37 million people are living with HIV and STD around the world. In the United States, 1.2 million people are living with HIV, 13% of whom are unaware of their diagnosis. An AIDS cycle figure where a person was infected every 9.5 minutes in 2012. In San Diego County alone, 108 new cases occurred last year, and 108 San Diego residents died of AIDS complications in 2016. The mission of HIV and STD Prevention Unit is to develop and evaluate interventions designed to reduce the spread of HIV and other blood-borne infections. Our vision is the belief that focusing on prevention efforts will prevent the spread of HIV and other infections. Our goals and objectives are targeting prevention activities, develop group and individual level interventions, develop partner services, sustain higher communication, public information, and provide continuous education to targeted groups. Provide training and technical assistance to providers in San Diego County. We face critical issues nowadays. AIDS is a life-threatening chronic condition caused by human immunodeficiency virus. HIV interferes with the body's ability to fight the organs that cause disease by damaging the immune system and leaving you at a greater risk to the contraction of other serious diseases. While HIV can manifest in different ways, it can take a long time, sometimes years, before HIV weakens your immune system to the point that it progresses into a full-blown AIDS. There is not no cure for HIV or AIDS. There are, however, medications that can significantly diminish the progression of the disease, oftentimes dramatically. These drugs can and have reduced AIDS deaths, but HIV infections continue at a disproportionately high rate in populations in
40 seconds.
close proximity to Mexican border. Prevention efforts include use a new condom every time you have sex, regardless of HIV status or type of intercourse. Therefore, CDC is the solution for this problem. Please vote yes for condom distribution program. Thank you.
You only got three. Good morning, Madam Director. My name is Jay Johnson. I'm here on behalf of Women's and Men's Health Services. I'm asking that you vote yes on the implementation of the CDC condom distribution policy. A special review panel led by the National Institute of Health has concluded that male latex condoms can effectively reduce the transmission of HIV and AIDS, period. My organization is a nonprofit agency whose mission is to assist and help educate 15,000 men and women annually Our medical services addresses acute and chronic conditions of general health maintenance, reducing with the goal of reducing teen unplanned pregnancies, STD, HIV prevention within the male and female communities. Our goal is to educate young men and women and provide a broad spectrum of services. A viable condom distribution program is vital due to the fact that there is irrefutable statistical data supporting the effectiveness of condom usage. Meta-analysis and several studies show that 85% shows an 85% decrease in the risk of transmitting HIV with consistent condom use as opposed to non-use. This is highly effective. The study also shows that it reduces almost in half the transmission of HIV, transmission of gonorrhea among men who constantly use condoms. In closing, numerous studies have proven the effectiveness of condoms with proper application and utilization. The goal of this coalition was devised with the young people in mind. College-age youth are sexually active and may not be well equipped to deal with the ramifications of risky sexual behavior. The coalition will work in conjunction with Planned Parenthood, Men's and Women's Health Services, Chicago AIDS Foundation, and the HIV Unit and Prevention Unit to assist with this issue. Our coalition.
30 seconds.
Yes, ma'am. Our coalition believes that the implementation of a low-cost, no-cost condom distribution program will greatly reduce the number of unprotected sex-related health complications to include HIV, STIs, unwanted pregnancies, and unwanted pregnancies. We ask that you please support our coalition on our efforts to provide condoms to all those in need to foster a safer environment for young adults to thrive. Madam Director, I'd like to thank you in advance for your support and your favorable vote on this important health issue. Congressman Doug, I'd like your support as well.
Hey, Jay, you got 3 was for you.
I got 3?
It was only for you. You only got 3 minutes.
I know, I was like, wait, what is that?
Sorry.
I am a little bit long-winded.
No, you're very long-winded.
So,
Oh, Lord.
just want to take a little time. So this is the baby affected with HIV, all right? Now, a 50-cent condom could prevent $36,000 a year. If you times that times 12 months, a year times 18 years, is in excess of $400,000. So let's weigh that. 50 cents to $400,000 of a lifetime of pain and treatment by the age of 18. I need your support.
Hey, your timer went off like a while ago.
Do you understand why people use pictures? Oh, wait, can I ask that question?
Huh?
Wow.
I gotta do it over in the back.
He's basically saying about the organizations and their investments, basically. Make it that affordable.
First, while I get ready, I do want to give away.
Sure.
Okay, real quick, class.
Do you need to put the screen up?
No, I got a number written up.
Oh, okay.
I got a number written right here. Whoever gets closest to the number is between what? Between 1 and 100.
Wow. 100.
Go, everybody, go.
69.
Come on. What is it? 69? 100. 24. What's the question?
37.
93.
93.7.
Anybody else? Tyler said 56.
You can get some meat and it won't be mine. lights? 75? Oh, okay. 25.
Kobe!
Why is it 24?
Excuse me, everyone.
Okay,
Excuse.
good giveaway.
Ready to,
Everybody calm down. Take a breath. Secondhand Smoke Coalition.
Alright, so our presentation is on the Secondhand Smoke Coalition, policy AB 746.
Okay,
So 50,000 premature deaths annually from secondhand smoke occurs. Target audience is women, children, infants. Severe asthma attacks, respiratory infections, ear infection, and sudden infant death syndrome. Problem: according to the AB 746 from the Surgeon General of the U.S. states, found that secondhand smoke is having no risk-free level of contact. Based on the state air resources, classify secondhand smoke as toxic air contaminant. So our stakeholders are the American Lung Association, Action on Smoking and Health, March of Dimes, and American Academy of Otolaryngology of Head and Neck Surgery.
Ready?
Good evening. My name is Daryl Amu. I stand before you today not only as a representative of the American Lung Association, but also a citizen of California. We at the ALA are on a mission to save lives by helping lung health and preventing lung disease. Our vision is to potentially have a world free of lung disease. According to the research conducted by Centers of Disease and Prevention, secondhand smoke is annually responsible for 300,000 lower respiratory tract infections in infants and children under 18 months of age. This result is about 8 to 15,000 hospitalizations and 790,000 doctor's office visits yearly. In addition, secondhand smoke is also responsible for 430 sudden infant death syndrome deaths in the U.S. annually. Secondhand smoke is personal to me. In 1986, my would have been older cousin passed away at the age of 1 due to pneumonia developed by secondhand smoke. Marisol was exposed to constant secondhand smoke from her caretaker at her daycare and father at home. If a bill like the one before us today existed and was implemented back then, possibly thousands of children's lives might have been saved, to include my cousins. And this is why I highly encourage today's committee to support Assembly Bill number 746, just like I and many of my fellow Californians. This bill will acknowledge that secondhand smoke is toxic and deadly and is needed to be contained and out of public locations, daycares, and homes. Let's learn from history and save lives of future generations to come. Thank you, committee, for taking the time to listen. I wish you all a great day.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Okay, good evening. My name is Taylor Martinez, and I'm a representative for Action on Smoking and Health, or ASH. ASH was founded in 1976, and since then have helped transform the American public's perception of tobacco from casual acceptance as normal behavior to non-acceptance with high levels of awareness of the related health concerns. ASH is committed to a world where no one dies from secondhand smoke. The U.S. Surgeon General says there is no safe level of exposure to secondhand smoke. Children, pregnant women, the elderly, and those with chronic illnesses are especially vulnerable to the harmful effects of secondhand smoke. This means that millions may be exposed to secondhand smoke and aerosol even if they do not allow smoking or vaping in their unit. And while many Californians have made the choice to not allow smoking inside their homes, many living in apartments and condominiums are still exposed to drifting toxic secondhand smoke. In fact, toxic secondhand smoke exposure can cause asthma in children who have previously not had any symptoms. Other health effects on children from secondhand smoke exposure include low birth weight and lung problems in infants, acute lower respiratory tract infections such as bronchitis or pneumonia, middle ear infections, and chronic respiratory symptoms or problems. So I stand before you today to encourage and ask you to please support Assembly Bill 746, just as my organization and I fully support it. Secondhand smoke is a serious issue that needs to be controlled, and with this bill, we will make sure that children are protected. I will leave you with one more fact to think about while you consider your decision. One person dies every 6 seconds from tobacco-related diseases such as lung cancer, COPD, or severe asthma. That is 10 people a minute. I want to thank you. I want to say thank you to the committee for taking the time to listen.
Good, thank you. Next
All
speaker.
right. Good evening. My name is Ian Vasquez Hagani. I'm a representative from the March of Dimes that stands for protecting the lives of women, infants, and children from secondhand smoke exposure. As a medical dental technician from the United States Navy Reserve, being an advocate for community health is a big part of my Navy career. Prevention and health promotion is a key aspect in our coalition, from smoking cessation to oral health instruction. I would like to thank the board members for this opportunity to promote the mission and vision of March of Dimes. The mission of March of Dimes is prematurity is the #1 killer of babies in the U.S., and we are working to change that and help more moms and full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. March of Dimes will support AB 746, prohibiting smoking in multifamily housing. March of Dimes supports AB 746 to protect the women, infant, children from secondhand smoke exposure in multifamily housing, given the harm of secondhand smoke exposure in the prenatal period. AB 746 has the potential to improve pregnancy outcomes, prevent infant mortality, and avert costly illnesses associated with tobacco exposure. Secondhand smoke exposure is harmful to women, infant, and children. In unborn babies, infants, and children, secondhand smoke can damage developing organs such as lungs, brain. According to the U.S. Surgeon General's 2006 report, tobacco can use exposure to secondhand smoke by non-smoking pregnant women may lead to premature birth. Secondhand smoke is detrimental to the overall health of women, and it has been shown to cause lung disease, heart disease, various cancers, including cervical and lung cancer. AB 7446 will protect women and children from secondhand smoke exposure in multifamily housing. It will prohibit smoking multifamily housing in California in close quarters such as multifamily housing, adverse impact on secondhand smoke exposure, and may particularly pronounced. Nearly 30 cities and counties in California have already restricted smoking in multifamily housing. AB 746 can lead to healthier pregnancies and healthier babies. A smoke-free environment is critical to ensure healthy pregnancy. Nearly 1 in 10 babies in California is born premature, and reducing tobacco use and exposure to secondhand smoke could improve our preterm birth rate.
30 seconds.
Protecting women from secondhand smoke will ensure that they are in optimal health prior to pregnancy. I'll ask you to vote yes for AB 746, working together and stronger, healthier babies, saving lives together one step at a time.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tyler. I'm a representative from the American Academy of Otolaryngology, head and neck surgery. The organization representing specialists who treat ear, nose, throat, and related structures of the head and neck. The Academy represents approximately 12,000 head and neck surgeons who diagnose and treat disorders of these areas. The medical disorders treated by our physicians are among the most common that affect all Americans. This includes swallowing disorders, nosebleeds, hoarseness, dizziness, and head and neck cancer. The AAOHNS Foundation works to advance the art and science of ethical practice of otolaryngology, head and neck surgery through education, research, and lifelong learning. As an organization that has the best interests of our patients in mind, we support AB 746, a necessary action to keep our children and their caregivers safe in child care facilities. Secondhand smoke is also referred to as environmental tobacco smoke, or ETS, easily recognizable by its distinctive odor. ETS contaminates an area. After ETS contaminates an area, it can be retained in clothing, hair, curtains, and furniture. It can easily be spread from one area of a building to another through vents and air ducts. ETS can be unpleasant, annoying, and irritating to the eye and nose. More importantly, it represents a dangerous health hazard. Over 4,000 different chemicals have been identified in ETS, and at least 43 of these chemicals cause cancer. Exposure to ETS decreases lung efficiency in children and impairs lung function in children of all ages. It increases both frequency and severity of childhood asthma. It can also aggravate sinusitis, rhinitis, cystic fibrosis, and chronic respiratory problems such as cough and postnasal drip. It also increases the number of children's colds and sore throats in children under 2. ETS exposure increases the likelihood of bronchitis and pneumonia. And in fact, a 1992 study by the Environmental Protection Agency says ETS causes 150,000 to 300,000 lower respiratory tract infections each year in infants and children under 18 months old. 18 months. Sorry. These illnesses result in as many as 15,000 hospitalizations. So, exposure to ETS increases both the number of ear infections in children as well as the duration of the illnesses. Inhaled smoke irritates the eustachian tubes, which connects to the back of the nose with the middle ear. This causes swelling, obstruction, and interferes with pressure equalization in the middle ear, leading to pain, fluid, and infection. Ear infections in the middle ear are the most common cause of children's hearing loss.
30 seconds.
While these do not respond to medical treatment surgeons, secondhand smoke puts teenagers in high risk for frequency, central rhino, hearing loss, and level exposure. So you know the dangers of ETS. There are also over 3,000 non-smokers that die of lung cancer each year. If you find these facts alarming, what can you do? You can be certain that your children's schools and daycare facilities are smoke-free and voting for AB 746. Thank you for your time.
All right, great job, Secondhand Smoke Coalition. Okay, last group.
Knock it out.
Okay, great.
Whenever it gets back. We're gonna take my thumb drive out of here.
You guys okay?
That was the world's oldest condom. I was right.
The world's oldest.
I want to show how long safe sex has been around.
Before that, it was fair game. Well, here we go. Okay. On a road we don't want to be on.
Be nice. Everybody.
Being nice. Where are you? Oh, I lost it. National short. It is national. Get her hair bounced back. That's all. Oh, I can tell. Wow.
You guys ready?
Spoken like an nail.
We're number 2. Yeah, he was basically rushing for rushing like our. You got people in our lips.
I cannot. You guys ready?
We start off like after we're starting our testimony, not before the intro, right?
Start timing it?
The time when we're doing our individual testimony or what's
Yeah, everybody does their intro PowerPoint first, and then you guys do your testimony. So you're not being timed on your PowerPoint. All right, you guys go.
We are the Coalition for Obesity and Nutrition Among School-Aged Children, which is under the Senate Bill 965 that states existing laws require the governing board of a school district to give diligent care to the health and physical development of pupils. Existing laws restrict the sale of beverages to pupils at elementary school to certain specified beverages.
Wait, hold on a second. Is this your testimony?
No.
Okay, just making sure. I'll have to start timing it, so I just wanted to make sure. Yeah.
Including water, milk, and 100% fruit juice at middle or junior high school at specified times to certain specified beverages. This bill will modify the list of beverages that will be sold to pupils at elementary school or middle or junior high school, and will restrict the sale of beverages at high school at specified times to certain specified beverages.
Okay, so I'm gonna go first.
Ready? You can do this.
I'm gonna
Okay, go.
Good evening, Legislative Council. My name is Mari Franco Sanchez, and I represent the American Heart Association. The American Heart Association is a nonprofit organization which advocates for people to get the cardiac care required with the aim of preventing death and disabilities that occur as a result of cardiac-related health issues. As a representative of the American Heart Association, I am here to state my organization's position in regards to Senate Bill 965 in support of nutrition standards. The American Heart Association agrees with the law that ensures the governing boards of school districts should enhance their focus on the physical development of their pupils by giving diligent care in relation to their health. The American Heart Association would like every elementary school to only sell specific beverages at school, which include water, milk, and fruit juices that are 100% made of natural fruits. We would also like the same to apply to middle and junior schools, middle and high schools. We support this bill because middle schoolers will be restricted to purchase specific drinks at specific times. We believe that promoting the consumption of healthy beverages by our children will be beneficial to their health, which greatly reduces the chances of child developing any cardiovascular complications. The amendments made to Bill 965 are very helpful in our case of promoting health in children to reduce cardiovascular incidents. Drinking water without sweeteners, fruit and vegetable drinks with 50% or more fruit and or vegetable content
and non-dairy milk are the specific amendments made to the drinks allowed for sale elementary schools. However, there is an exemption which allows schools not to comply with the specific drinks written above in certain circumstances. These circumstances include when the school hosts fundraising events, if students sell such drinks away from the premises of the school, and if students sell these drinks an hour or more after the end of the school day. As the American Heart Association, this is acceptable to us because it reinforces what we are trying to do for the American children who are our future. To enforce these regulations, the American Heart Association would like to make a request to the policy makers in regards to adding the clause to the amendment to Bill 965. This clause ought to say that any school district board that is found not to comply with the law regards to the amendment of Bill 965 has to be held accountable and penalized. It is our belief that the
30 seconds.
addition of such clause will convey the seriousness of the matter in regards to the health of our children. The main reason for the Heart Association behind Bill 965 is that it dictates the content of the drinks sold in People's Elementary School, middle school, in a way of promoting healthy living for young kids. Additionally, high levels of calorie intake have negative effects of the health of individuals, especially kids. It may cause problems such as obesity, which is one of the leading factors that lead to the development of cardiovascular disease amongst our kids. As such,
Any last comments?
I would like to offer my sincere thanks to the committee for granting me this opportunity to offer this testimony.
Good, thank you. Next speaker.
Okay, good evening, Legislative Council. Hello, my name is Lucinda Cardozo Soto, and I am a representative for the California Food Policy Advocates Organization. I would like to thank you all for joining me here today in support of the Senate Bill 965, Chapter 237. The CFPA attains participation amongst federal dietary programs like CalFresh and SNAP while focusing on laws that expand access to these programs and improving the quality of the foods amongst these nutritional programs to prevent childhood obesity. Socioeconomic disadvantages primarily begin in early childhood. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimated in 2014 that the prevalence rates of childhood obesity resulted in 12.7 million. The CDC also reported that children between the ages of 2 to 5 accounted for 11.6% below the poverty level, while children between the ages of 6 through 11 resulted for 21.5% below the poverty level, and youth between the ages of 12 through 19 resulted in 22.4% below the poverty level. To furthermore support these findings, the CDC reported that low-income children occur from prevalence rates of obesity at 8.2%, ranging from Utah and ending in 20% in Virginia, and find that obesity is correlated to poverty levels. Although various factors contribute to childhood obesity, the CDC in 2014 reported that obesity remains higher amongst Hispanic children. Okay, the obesity epidemic has estimated for increased prevalence rates and resulted in the growth of the problem over time. Soda is the largest source of added sugar. More than 6 million children will return back to school by the upcoming year, while 3.6 million of those children reside in poverty-stricken communities. Environmental factors can significantly affect children's development and risk for obesity. So who is responsible for this obesity epidemic? How can we make the change for these children to have healthier, fulfilling lives when the state is only pursuing long-term solutions to education inequities? I ask that you become part of the solution by supporting Senate Bill 965 in order to make the right change and be a part of the long-term solution, so that these programs, along with other state investments, can furthermore address the true levels of these children's needs. Your support will further allow federal nutrition programs
30 seconds.
to provide an immediate measure of relief to children out of poverty and lower their risk for obesity significantly. Clearly, these numbers do not lie. This nation is currently facing an obesity crisis. You will be part of the change that provides healthier food and beverage options for children while improving better health outcomes and decreasing the government's obesity-related health costs. Thank you.
Good job, thanks.
Good evening, Legislative Council. My name is Shanae Stubenian, and I'm here on behalf of the California Dental Association. I am a member of the American Dental Hygienists Association, and we are one of the oldest and largest organizations in the world. I'm here on behalf of Senate Bill 965 to improve nutrition standards